Hi everyone, we coming to the 9th line, and before we go to the 10th, we want to review a little bit here. And according to these 100 characters, at this very point, we need to understand that by the returning of the energy, then the pill, the immortal pill, will be crystallized by itself. We don't need to do anything. Now, let's take a look over here. All the black boxes here are what we call structure. The structure means everyone has it, and we don't need to build or do anything to it. It's just there. And the social dimensions also just there. But in the Taoism here, in this very particular text, this part here is not talking that much. How to cultivate, talking about how to cultivate the upper part here. So the collective dimension is not that much mentioned. But we will take this dimension and we talk about it some other time. But however, this structure here, the cultivation up to this point now, it says that if you have your emotion, when the emotion is settled, the emotion is settled, then the energy will, the vitality, the pill. The pill, we have to write out the pill, will crystallize. Now you see all the blue here, this is the states. This is the structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the structures. You don't need to build anything, it's there. But the state is something you need to cultivate to have it. If you don't cultivate, you don't have this state. Okay, but when you get to this state, the ultimate here, it's a non-duality. It's also a state. It's a state that you will get to. But how do you unfold it is another subject. But here, you're talking, if your emotion is settled, then the pill is crystallized. And there is original vitality. And this will itself, we cultivate it to make it into the pure original energy. And this original energy could be transformed into original spirit. And the original spirit is simply transformed, the last thing, to become non-duality. Now the past is not just material. But you can see that it's transforming from the material plane, here, right here, and emotional, intellectual plane. All of this is lift up into the spiritual plane. So the transformation from here all the way up to here. And what stops us from going up here? According to the text, it is our emotional patterns. There is too much greed or fear, that's like water going down, and too much anger like fire going up. And these two things is turmoil. They don't work together. So you need to somehow unite them, unite the two opposites so they can become harmony. Now we talk about it in other subject, in other time. But we know and we understand up to now, that is what has happened. So when the emotion is not settled, it influences over the original energy. You see there. Now, when the intellect, when the thinking is not settled, then what happens is you cannot go back to the original spirit. The intellect here have the influence over the original spirit. So if we are confused, which is over here, scatteredness or confusion. Then what happens is, it's just like the fire, the confusion go everywhere. The water in the intellect is a dualism, meaning goods and bad, right and wrong. If we always go like that, we always take side, always find faults, always looking at people's mistakes and faults, always zoom into that. Then this is what we call the water of dualism. And if we have the fire of confusion, the fire of scatteredness, then our intellect also chaos, upside down. And therefore, in order to change the whole dynamic, we need to know the roots of all of this and go back to the root, which is the Tai Chi, which is the root up here. In order to understand the effect of this emotion, make them settle, then it will go back to the original energy. In other words, the pill now is so clear that it's not something that we say we buy out on the pharmacy, or it's something that we concocted, something that it's external, but it's actually the internal. And the path to come to there is to settle this two part, to settle the intellect and the emotion. Then the energy by itself can come together. And when it's come together, the next step we do is what we call lien. Lien meaning to cultivate so it can be transformed. So it is very interesting at this very moment now. We do not want to eliminate the collectivity, meaning the collecting aspect of the practice. But we need to understand how this is so critical. When you come to practice spirituality and you don't want to deal with your emotion, your shadows, your blind spot, you don't want to deal with your sitting, you say, okay, I'm just be aware of it. But that's not enough, because sometimes this confusion and the duality within our mind is still there. So we got to harmonize them. We got to harmonize them first, and then bring them to unity. And from unity, this pill, the Tang, will be the vehicle for us to transform ourselves. But this is a very interesting way that Taoism think about the meditation or the practice. It's not something, it's very far-fetched. It can be practiced, and it's very easy to do it if you know how to do it. And here's the beginning. Settle your emotion and settle your intellect.